3 days after our parents divorced, my stepsister started going on blind dates. The first 8 men all had flaws I picked apart, and the 9th profile was mine. When Aunt Shen saw that hastily printed sheet, she first felt my forehead. Fangs, you'd have a fever. No. Then why did you put your own photo on it? I snatched the profile away and shoved it back into the folder in her hands. Just making up the numbers. The photo was a screenshot from my company's access control system. My head was tilted slightly. The bio beneath it was something I made up in 5 minutes. Fangs, you, 28, 1.8 meters tall. Mortgage, no car, busy job, average temper. Partner requirements, female, alive. After Aunt Shen read the last line, she raised her hand to smack me. I dodged around the dining table. The first 8 really weren't good enough. The first posted steering wheel selfies every day. Half the car badges in his photos were from borrowed cars. The second was 35 and still had his mother reply to his messages. The third claimed to love traditional culture and wanted to meet at a foot massage parlor. Stop talking nonsense. He asked her to meet at the tea house beside it. Still no. The place is too hard to find. What about the fourth? He's going bald. His hair looks perfectly fine in the photo. It's only a matter of time. Aunt Shen slapped the folder onto the table in anger. Is Xiao Yu going on these blind dates? Or are you? I said nothing. A pile of dishes still sat in the kitchen, waiting to be divided. This home had gone 16 years without major renovations. After one divorce, suddenly nothing in the house seemed to belong to anyone. I reached over and tucked the 9th profile at the very bottom. One extra sheet wouldn't hurt. Don't make trouble over your sister's affairs. Is she still my sister now? The room fell silent the moment I said it. I lowered my head and straightened the papers. No matter how long I tried, I could not line them up. Aunt Shen did not scold me again. She sighed. Whether she is or not, you know in your heart. That afternoon, Shen Bai came back for her last box of books. The first thing she did upon entering was call out Mom. Then she gave me a brief nod. You're here too. I live here. Oh, I forgot. Then she went to carry her books, without looking at me again. Shen Bai's first move whenever she came home used to be telling me to take my feet off the coffee table. Today, my shoes were nearly touching the fruit bowl, but she did not say a word. Aunt Shen handed her the blind date folder. Your aunt recommended them. Look them over. If none fit, forget it. Shen Bai took it and sat at the dining table to look through it. She spent more than 10 seconds on the first page. She flipped through the second more quickly. I sat on the sofa, pretending to answer messages, while the corner of my eye followed her hand. When she reached the 5th profile, she took a call from school. She casually set the folder aside. You're not looking anymore. I'll look tonight. Don't bother. The 5th guy has bad breath. Have you smelled it? His lips are pressed so tightly in that photo. His breath has to be bad. She ignored me. She continued discussing final exam proctoring with her colleague. The waiting made me restless, so I got up for water. I passed the dining table 3 times. Why are you pacing around? My legs are long. I have nowhere to put them. If you need to pace, do it outside. I had just breathed a sigh of relief. When she reopened the folder, she started flipping backward from the end. The 9th profile appeared. Her hand stopped. Holding a cup that wasn't quite full, I stood beside the water dispenser. Suddenly, I felt incredibly stupid for doing this. If she laughed, I could still call it a joke. If she cursed me out, I would curse right back. But Shen Bai did nothing. She read the page through, then read it again. Aunt Shen leaned out from the kitchen. Anyone worth talking to? Shen Bai pressed a finger to my photo. This one. I nearly poured my water into an outlet from the shock. Which one did you say? The 9th one. She looked up at me. Didn't he sign himself up? After Shen Bai said without expression that she wanted to meet me, she scheduled dinner for Saturday night that same day. No one even asked if I was free. She had always been like this. 16 years ago, when she first came into my home, Dad told me to call her sister. I refused, so Shen Bai tossed her backpack into my room and said that was fine, but she wanted the desk by the window. We got into a fight. In the end, she got the desk. We put a strip of tape down the middle of the window. Neither of us was allowed to cross it. That tape lasted 2 weeks. In the 3rd week, she was doing homework without an eraser. She reached right over to my side. I put my hand over the eraser. Call me Big Brother. In your dreams. She snatched the eraser away and swept all the shavings onto my desk. After that, the line was gone. Shen Bai is 2 years older than me. Outside, she always made sure people saw her as the older sister. But once we got home, She would steal my charger, eat the ice cream I hid behind the fridge, stuff the remote into the sofa cushions, then ask if I was blind. But I did not let her get away with much either. The first love letter she received in her freshman year of high school was folded into a paper airplane by me and thrown from the 6th floor. She chased me down a flight of stairs, hitting me. In the end, she sat on the stairs and laughed. Fangs you, at this rate, you'll never find a girlfriend. Then I won't find one. Back then, those words came so easily. The night our parents announced their divorce, the 4 of us sat around the same dining table. Aunt Shen had cooked the meal, all simple home dishes. Halfway through speaking, she forgot to turn off the stove. The soup in the pot boiled dry. Shen Buyu got up and went to the kitchen. Only then did Aunt Shen continue. Your Uncle Fang and I have discussed it. He gets the house. We each keep our own savings. There was no major conflict. We just didn't want to stay together anymore. Dad sat across from us, shelling peanuts. He did not eat a single one. The kids are grown. Don't make it sound like a disaster. I finally asked, when did you decide this? A while ago. How long is a while? Fangs you. Shen Buyu returned from the kitchen, carrying away the ruined pot of soup. She stopped me from questioning them. She did not ask them why. She only said, I understand. That indifferent look on her face only made me angrier. You already knew. Since last week. I was the only one you kept in the dark. What would knowing change? I can say no. Shen Buyu tossed an oven mitt onto the counter. How old are you? Do our parents need your signature to get divorced? She left me speechless. Dad quickly tried to smooth things over. He asked Shen Buyu where she would live. There's a small apartment near the school. I've already paid the deposit. As she said that, I did not even know when she had gone apartment hunting. Toward the end of dinner, Dad had a few drinks and suddenly asked me, if Aunt Shen and I split up, Xiaoyu will still be your sister, right? Shen Buyu was picking fish bones from her food. She did not look up, but her chopsticks stopped. I looked at her. A sentence I'd swallowed for years was lodged in my throat. No, of course she would not be my sister anymore. I did not want her to be. But our parents were sitting at the table. The divorce papers they had just agreed on lay beside them. No. Shen Buyu set the fish bone onto her plate. Dad had drunk too much to hear clearly. What? I did not dare repeat it. The next morning, Shen Buyu hired a moving company. She moved quickly. Clothes, books, even the old bedside lamp. She even packed the yogurt she had bought from the fridge. I blocked her bedroom door. Don't take that bag. My stuff is in there. Shen Buyu opened the bag and pulled out a broken game controller. Yours? The lamp belongs to the house. I bought it in high school. I've used it plenty of times. Then pay rent. Shen Buyu, have to move today. She bent down to seal a box. She had not pulled the packing tape out properly, and it stuck to her sleeve. She tugged twice, but could not pull it off. Frustrated, she bit it off. I've paid the deposit. Then get it back. Why should I? Again, I had no answer. Shen Buyu picked up the box and squeezed past me. Check whether you left anything behind. And stop using that as an excuse to come into my room. I stood by the door, still holding the controller that did not even work. That was that. Until 3 days later, when she started going on blind dates. Saturday night, Shen Buyu asked me to a Western restaurant. It was the kind of place I had put down on my profile. I had written that I like quiet, refined restaurants with a view of the city at night. Actually, Yang Jian had found it for me. He said you could not eat skewers on a first date. Cumin stuck on your lips makes conversation awkward. I arrived 20 minutes early. After sitting down, I realized the menu had no pictures. The server handed me a wine list. I stared at it for ages and ordered the drink with the shortest name. Shen Buyu arrived right on time. But the moment she sat down, the restaurant lost power. The entire floor went dark, followed by several startled cries. The emergency lights came on. The servers apologized at every table, saying there was an electrical fault that would take at least an hour to fix. And my short-name drink had not even arrived. Yang Jian texted to ask how it was going. I replied with 2 words, power outage. He sent a voice message. It wasn't appropriate to play it, so I converted it to text. The transcription was just a string of ha ha ha. Speechless, I put my phone away. Shen Buyu looked over the menu under the emergency lights. Are we still eating here? Then let's go somewhere else. Don't you like this place? I can be less particular sometimes. She closed the menu. She did not call me up. We walked outside. Only a noodle shop next door was still open. It was packed with people from the Western restaurant. We waited 10 minutes for a tiny table by the door. Every time it opened, cold air rushed in. Are you cold? Shen Buyu said she was not. Then she turned and zipped my jacket all the way up. When she finished, even she froze for a moment. She quickly pulled her hand back. Don't pass your cough on to me. I did not cough. You did just now. I was clearing my throat. Same difference. The owner brought over the bowls of noodles. Shen Buyu lowered her head and picked every piece of scallion into my bowl. I looked at the pile of scallions and suddenly laughed. My profile said I did not eat scallions. You do eat them. Since when? You did not before 8th grade. Then you got tired of picking them out, so you started eating them. She pulled the 9th blind date profile from her bag. I nearly choked. The paper had been folded once. 2 lines of blue notes had been added beneath my name. She had crossed out doesn't eat scallions and written beside it, eats them, just doesn't like picking them out. I reached for it. I'm not done asking. Is this a blind date or an exam now? You wrote this profile yourself. I just filled it out casually. Then why did you sign up for blind dates? The noodle shop was noisy. A child at the next table kept tapping his bowl with chopsticks. I stared at the photo on the paper, unsure where to look. The first 8 were all no good. I asked why you signed up. I was afraid you'd get taken in. I'm already 30. 30-year-olds can still get conned. She cut me off. Fang's you. When she used my full name, I instinctively sat up straighter. Why do you think you're right for me? That question was harder than any job interview. I thought about it. We lived together for 16 years. I knew she didn't eat fatty meat. I knew she cleaned the table first whenever she was angry. I knew whenever she said, anything is fine, it never really was. But when the words reached my lips, they became. At least I'm not bald. Shen Buyu stared at me for several seconds. What else? I make decent money. You put 2,000 less on your profile. How do you know that? Your salary deposit alert showed up on the family tablet last month. You read my texts? The screen lit up by itself. But you still read it. Fang's you. Can you stop changing the subject? I lowered my head for some soup and scalded my tongue numb. Shen Buyu waited a moment, then turned to the next section of my profile. Romantic history, 0. Right. What about that short-haired girl in college? She came to borrow your notes. I just showed her the way. What about the one waiting downstairs at your office? She sold insurance. She asked too quickly. It took me a while to realize what she'd said. How do you remember all that? Shen Buyu nudged the noodles in her bowl with her chopsticks. We lived together every day. How could I not notice? She folded the profile and put it back in her bag. That's enough for today. What do you mean? That's enough. Go home and wait to hear from me. She got up to pay. I sat at our little table by the door, watching her bag. The first 8 profiles were all left at Aunt Shen's house. Only mine had gone with her. After the noodles, Shen Buyu went back to our old home for a set of study guides. I said it was on my way and got in her car. It wasn't. My office was in the east of the city. Her new place was in the west. Our old home sat between them, a detour either way. Shen Buyu didn't expose me. She only handed me the bag of trash from the passenger seat. Throw this out while you're at it. After I got out, tossed it, and came back, she'd already locked the car. I haven't gotten my laptop. Unlock it yourself. You have the keys. She fished out a key, started to hand it over, then pulled it back. This is for my new place. I meant the old home. You didn't bring yours? I checked every pocket. I really hadn't. Whenever Shen Buyu was with me, I never carried keys. She'd scolded me about it countless times. But after scolding me, she'd still wait for me at the door. Today, she didn't wait. She turned and entered the building. Shen Buyu, open the door for me. Then call security. The guard knows me. That's embarrassing. You care about being embarrassed? Despite what she said, she came back and opened the door. As I followed her in, she stepped aside. She didn't reach into my pockets like she used to, checking whether I had lost my entry card again. The elevator was quiet. I finally asked her, what happened with the blind date? What do you mean? The 9th one. I'm still considering it. Considering what? Your profile is too fake. I wanted to argue, but then remembered the salary sections and kept quiet. The house was even emptier than yesterday. Only a bed and a cardboard box remained in Shen Buyu's room. She crouched on the floor looking for books while I leaned against the door frame and watched. Check the second shelf on the left. Not there. What about behind them? I checked. I walked over and pulled the study guide from behind a row of old magazines. Isn't this it? Shen Buyu took it. How did you know? Every time you say you'll organize things, you end up shoving whatever you aren't reading into the back. She put the book in the box without responding. I turned and saw one of my hoodies beside the bed. Why is this in your room? During last year's blackout, you got cold and tossed it over to me. Why didn't you give it back? I forgot. She shoved the hoodie into my arms too. I stood there holding it. You've got the books. Move the rest tomorrow. Why? It's too late. It's not even 8. Don't you have class tomorrow? Fang's you. Stop making conversation just to fill the silence. I stood there for a while, clutching the old hoodie. Keys rattled outside the door. Dad and Aunt Shen came home together. One carried groceries, the other an old photo album. They had already finalized their divorce. As they came in, they were still arguing over who had bought the album. They stopped arguing when they saw us both there. Have you eaten? Yes. No. She shot me a sit-along glance. Are you full? That bowl of noodles was tiny. I wasn't, anyway. In the end, we sat down to a meal of leftovers. Dad reheated the dishes and burned to plates of food. Aunt Shen complained that he'd used too much salt. She snatched the pot away and added more water. After arguing, they both fell silent. I served Shen Buyu some rice. Out of habit, I picked the fatty meat from her bowl. She pressed down on my chopsticks. I'll do it myself. Don't you not eat it. If you can't finish it, just leave it. That's wasteful. Then eat your own. Dad glanced at us from across the table, then lowered his head and shoveled down his food. At least no one brought up the blind dates again. After dinner, Shen Buyu carried the books to her car. The 9th dating profile slipped from her bag, landing beneath the seat. I bent to retrieve it, but she snatched it first, still looking at it. What have you figured out? She opened the driver's door. There are quite a few problems. I followed her to the car, then stopped looking at it. Why do you care? I'm the candidate. Shen Buyu got into the car. A candidate has even less right to tell me what to do. Wednesday of the second week, Aunt Shen texted me, Xiaoyu is having dinner with Mr. N tonight. Don't go causing trouble. I stared at those last words for a long time. Yang Jian was sitting across from me, eating his work lunch. I slid my phone over to him. After reading it, Yang Jian gave me only one response. Then don't go. I took my phone back. Who wants to go? Only an idiot would follow her there. After work, I drove to that restaurant. It took only 40 minutes. I sat in the car for 10 minutes. Going straight inside would look too pathetic. So I went to a convenience store and bought an umbrella. It was bright and sunny outside. I carried the umbrella into the restaurant. Shen Buyu sat at a table against the wall. Mr. N sat across from her. He was showing her a video from the school sports day. They were both laughing. I walked over. I set the umbrella beside Shen Buyu's hand. You left this at my place. Shen Buyu looked at the umbrella, then out the window. It's sunny today. The forecast said it might rain. Mr. N, to his credit, was very polite. He had the server bring over another chair. Since he's your younger brother, he can join us. The moment I heard the words younger brother, I sat right down. Shen Buyu kicked me under the table. I didn't budge. Mr. N asked what I did for work. I questioned him too. How many classes do you teach? What do you do if a student gets hurt? Do you own a place? Will your parents live with you? By my third question, Shen Buyu had already set down her cup. Fang's you. Mr. N wasn't angry, though. Do you question your clients like this too? Mr. Fang, my clients aren't going on blind dates with my sister. Shen Buyu looked at me. Who is your sister? I froze on the spot. Mr. N looked at her, then at me, then lowered his head and took a sip of water. That dinner was completely ruined. Shen Buyu told me to leave first. I went back to the car and waited an hour. When she came out, Mr. N only walked her to the curb. He didn't pry, nor did he insist on taking her home. I still couldn't find a single fault with him. Shen Buyu opened the passenger door and tossed the umbrella inside. Don't come again. He's not right for you. Shen Buyu gave an angry laugh. You bring an umbrella on a sunny day, grill him about his mortgage, then sit down and mooch a meal. And you think you're better suited than him? I didn't eat. She shut the car door, then turned and called a ride share. Before, whenever I showed up, she always came home with me. This time, she finished her meal before letting me see her come out. I really didn't contact her for several days. A few days later, Dad noticed a TV remote was missing at home. He insisted Shen Buyu had taken it by mistake and made me take it back to her. The remote cost more than 80 yuan. Dad couldn't bear to buy another one, so I had no choice but to take it to the west side of town. Shen Buyu's new home was on the 5th floor. There was no elevator. By the time I climbed up, a repairman was fixing the water heater inside. I held up the remote. Delivery. Shen Buyu looked at it for a few seconds. I didn't take it. Check the model. I glanced at her new television. It wasn't even the same brand. I'd climbed 5 flights for nothing. The water heater repairman called from inside. He needed a wrench. Shen Buyu turned to find it. I stood at the door for a moment, then put on shoe covers and went inside anyway. The dining table was secondhand with a wobbly leg. Paper had been wedged underneath to steady it. The sheet showing on top happened to have my photo on it. I pulled out the 9th profile. The table immediately rocked. The water in the cup spilled all over the table. Fang's you. Shen Buyu ran over, without even stopping to wipe up the water. She reached for the profile first. You didn't use the first 8 as table wedges, but you used my photo to prop up the table. Your paper is thicker. The back of the profile was covered in blue writing. Before I could read it clearly, she had grabbed a corner and yanked it back. We each held one side. A piece tore off the photo's lower right corner. The scrap fell onto the table and was quickly soaked by the water. Shen Buyu bent down to pick it up, then pressed it twice with a tissue. She folded the profile and shoved it into a drawer. Whatever it says is none of your business. I looked at her new sofa and the tiny table barely big enough for one person. The longer I looked, the more irritated I got. Shen Buyu tossed the rag into the sink. Didn't you say you didn't want me as your sister anymore? That's not what I meant. Then what did you mean? I opened my mouth. The repairman was tightening a pipe in the bathroom. His wrench fell to the floor with a heavy clang. Shen Buyu stood by the table waiting. And once again, I couldn't say it. Shen Buyu picked up the folded rag. You can't even explain why you don't want me as your sister anymore. What right do you have to meddle in who I date? At least Mr. knows why he came. She wiped the water off the table, then wedged several flyers back under the table leg. Someone's suddenly leaving the house. You're just not used to it. You'll be fine in a few days. Stop coming here and upsetting me. After I left Shen Buyu's place, I didn't contact her for days. I typed 2 lines in our chat, then deleted them word by word. Yang Jian told me to stop dragging things out over the phone. If I had something to say, I should ask her to meet. I chose the old Noodles shop outside our middle school. Shen Buyu used to go there after every exam. She said their chili was hot enough that eating it made her forget her grades. Half an hour after I sent the message, she replied with only a question mark. So I sent another message. Your 9th candidate wants to buy you dinner. Fine. I left work early and rushed over by car. The Noodles shop was gone. Its old sign had been completely removed. A leasing notice was pasted on the shutter. The owner next door even added, right in front of Shen Buyu, it's been closed for a year. Shen Buyu lowered her head and turned away. Her shoulders shook even harder. In the end, we bought 2 cups of oden from a convenience store and sat on plastic stools outside. The awning let in a constant draft. Shen Buyu bit into a fishball, decided it wasn't cooked through, and dropped it back into the cup to soak. I asked what she thought of teacher and, for you, being normal already counts as a strength. Has he asked you out again? MMHM. The bamboo skewer in my hand pierced the paper cup. Radish broth ran through the hole and onto my pants. Shen Buyu took some tissues from her bag. She glanced at the spill on my pants, then simply tossed the whole pack at me. She waited until I had wiped myself clean before taking out the 9th profile from her bag. The torn photo had been taped back together. Its edges were still wrinkled. She placed the profile on my lap. Here, take it back. We're not a match. Shen Buyu stood holding her paper cup. I grabbed the profile and followed her. I chased after her, still wanting to ask exactly why we weren't a match. Shen Buyu stopped. Fang's you. You push your way into this. But what exactly do you want? All I could force out was, those 8 men aren't good enough. She waited a moment. I still had nothing else to say. Shen Buyu tossed her paper cup into the trash. If that's all, stop blocking my way. This time, I didn't follow her. I went back to my car and stuffed the profile into the glove compartment. The next morning, I tried to smooth the photo back into place. The moment I peeled back the tape, the back of the profile flipped over. Blue handwriting filled most of the page. No car. False. That gray one always has 3 empty water bottles on the passenger seat. Regular schedule. False. Sends people short videos at 2 in the morning. Impossible to wake in the morning. Can cook. Barely. Only knows how to make scrambled eggs with tomatoes. Burned it twice. After temper. Average. She crossed it out with 2 strokes and changed it to bad. When he loses an argument, he grabs the remote. Beside dating experience, none. She wrote, probably. Below that, she listed the short-haired girl from college and the insurance agent downstairs from his office. Then she crossed them out herself. 1 patch of blue ink had run from water. Beside it, she added 2 words. So annoying. At the very bottom were several lines in tiny writing. Can't choose him. He's family. That line had been crossed out. Underneath, she wrote, could have one meal with him. That was crossed out too. Further down, there was one sentence. If he jokes around again, forget it. The final two words were written so heavily, they bulged through the back of the page. I took that sheet of paper and drove to the west side of town. Shen Buyu was grading papers at the table. She checked the time first. 9 in the morning. Shouldn't you be at work? I slapped the profile onto her exercise book. You wrote me down in such detail, and you still say we're not a match. Once Shen Buyu saw it clearly, she lunged to grab it. I pinned the paper to the table. She reached over and pulled at it. All the test papers on the table fell to the floor. The red pen rolled under the sofa too. We crouched down to pick up the papers and bumped our heads together again. Shen Buyu clutched her forehead and cursed at me furiously. I set the papers on the coffee table. Our parents just got divorced. Why are you in such a hurry to go on blind dates? Shen Buyu lowered her head and sorted the papers. She didn't answer. The water heater was dripping again, each drop falling into the plastic basin below. I pointed at the crossed-out words, family. When I said, no, at dinner, it wasn't that I didn't want you. I just didn't want to be your little brother anymore. At last, she looked up. Then, what do you want to be? Anything but your little brother. And then, I froze up again. Shen Buyu carefully aligned the papers on the floor, one by one. You asked why I had to move out, and said I could get my deposit back. Fang's you. That isn't asking someone to stay. It was like you were inspecting a house. She put the last sheet away. Her voice softened. I waited 2 days. You never came looking for me. You didn't even send a message. When my mom brought over the profiles, I looked at them. She pushed that profile back toward me. You just didn't want a sister. You never said you wanted me. I sat on the carpet for what felt like forever. Then I want you. Shen Buyu frowned. Fang's you. Say it plainly. I like you. Shen Buyu didn't answer right away. You tore into all 8 of the other candidates. But when it came to yourself, all you could say was that you aren't bald. How am I supposed to believe you? I put the 9th profile back in her hands. I genuinely signed up for this. You can look it over for as long as you want. I ran over with an umbrella on a sunny day, because I didn't want you having dinner with teacher and again. I could have hired a courier to deliver the remote, but I insisted on climbing all 5 floors myself, because I wanted to see you. I don't want to be just your little brother. And it isn't just because the house feels strange without you. Shen Buyu looked down at the profile. The clear tape at one corner had peeled up again. She reached out and pressed it flat, then tucked it back beneath her workbook. This time, she didn't use it to prop up the table leg. Friday night, Shen Buyu sent me the location of a barbecue restaurant. There was a message beneath it. Number 9, come if you're free. If not, forget it. I grabbed my car keys and ran to the elevator, then ran back to shut down my computer. A coworker asked why I was in such a rush. Dinner. I thought about it, then added, a blind date. After that barbecue dinner, Shen Buyu burned 2 slices of meat. She put one on my plate and ate the other herself. The 9th profile stayed tucked in her bag. She never gave it back. After that, whenever she was free, she sent me an address. If I got off work early, I'd ask her out too. If we missed the start of a movie we'd planned to see, we'd go browse the supermarket instead. I wanted to take her home. Sometimes she let me. Other times, she complained I was taking the long way. But we never called each other sister and brother again. A month later, the old apartment was being handed over. Fang's father and Aunt Shen asked us back for one last meal. When I arrived, Shen Buyu tossed me a thermos. Yours? You left it at my place. When did I bring it there? Last week. Can I just drink from yours? In your dreams. When we got to the old home, Fang's father was dismantling the dining table they'd used for over a decade. Halfway through, he realized he had the wrong screwdriver. So he put the table leg back on. Aunt Shen cooked 4 bowls of noodles. None of the 4 bowls matched. Everything in the house had already been divided up. They used whatever they could. During dinner, Fang's father asked how her blind dates had been going. Shen Buyu kicked me under the table. I nearly inhaled a mouthful of noodle soup. She pushed her water cup toward me. I took it and had 2 sips, only then realizing it was her cup. Fang's father looked at the cup, then at us. Have you two been seeing each other a lot lately? No, not bad. We spoke at the same time. The table went silent again. Aunt Shen lowered her head and picked at the noodles in her bowl twice. She didn't ask. Fang's father tried to say something else, but she stepped on his foot beneath the table. This time, He was the one who coughed. After dinner, Shen Buyu called me into the old room. Only 2 empty desks remained inside. The tape down the middle of the window was long gone, but a differently colored strip still marked the desktops. She took out the 9th dating profile. A piece was still missing from the photo, but all the writing on the back remained. At the bottom, she'd added 3 more words. Keep considering. I picked up the ballpoint pen Fang's father had left on the desk. I crossed out woman, alive under partner requirements. Then I wrote in a new name, Shen Buyu. She made me fill in her age, profession, and temperament too. When I reached the final field, bad temper, Shen Buyu raised her hand to hit me. I dodged to the side, bumping the empty desk hard enough to make it wobble. She snatched the profile away. After bad temper, she added, Fang's shoes is worse. Outside the door, Aunt Shen called for us to come carry out the fruit. Shen Buyu put the profile back in her bag. Back at the dining table, half a bowl of noodles remained in hers. Shen Buyu lowered her head and picked out the scallions one by one, dropping every last one into my bowl.